I hate to break the fishing news up, your Chuck, but I'd like to speak about the ice hockey.
Congratulations, you're one of the 13 listeners of the Real Life Podcast.
We just traded a migraine in for like an orgasm.
Might want to mark that down, your Chuck.
Yep. All of my projects are on schedule until they're not.
A member of the Nation Network of Podcasts.
About as funny as we're going to get today.
Welcome in episode 183 of the Real Life Podcast. I'm Tyler Remchuk. Jay's here, Wanye's here, Bag Milk's here. No Chalmers yet, but as has become tradition, he will probably just pop in at like the 25-minute mark. Before we dig into a few things, and we got a list of topics here, need to let you know today's podcast, as always, is brought to you by the fine folks at Japa Machinery. Japa's fleet is ready for rental season. If you're looking for daily, weekly, monthly, whatever it is, earth-moving equipment rentals, Japa has you covered. Their fleet includes excavators, wheel loaders, compaction and asphalt equipment. All machines are newer, cleaned, maintained, and supported by Japa's top-notch service. Big shout out to the guys over, or to the group over at Japa. I was talking to Maren today. She said things are going well there, which is always good to hear. Chalmers has chimed in and said, sorry, boys, lost track of time. Don't know what that means. But we'll bring in the members of the podcast who did remember what time it was. Bag Milk, Jay, Wanye. Jay, something exciting in your life, I suppose. I saw you sitting in the office at Little Brick. It's back open.
It is back open. We reopened today. I got to shout out the Little Brick team because a lot of planning goes into getting to this fine day. And I just walked in about 30 minutes ago, and every patio table that we have out has a couple people sitting at it. So it's nice to see Little Brick come back to life.
Are you in the office right now?
I'm in the office right now.
Oh, respect. It's weird, eh? It's like going back in time.
I know. It's like, yeah, it right now that I'm in it, it's like, well, I was just here yesterday, like working, and that was like 8 or 9 weeks ago.
But it's weird because everything, it's like we've quasi gone through like a Stargate, and everything's like 6 weeks off, right?
Yeah.
I was there like doing the yard up and whatnot. This is where I can help. I raked a bunch of shit up, and then I also, if you'll note, I painted all the picnic tables, Jay.
Oh, that's
like if that is in some effort, hey?
That looks fresh. Well, hey,
yeah.
it's a chance to be reborn. Yeah, no.
But it was weird because like I walked into the office and sat down, and there was like I still had a beer glass there from March 8th or some shit. Like very strange time.
Oh yeah, I got notes on here from like reading them. Like oh shit, I forgot to do that.
Pandemic equals real? Question mark.
Yeah. No, it's good to see, and with with the social distancing and kind of the safety protocols we have in place, it's. We got a little lineup coming out around the corner, which is good to see.
It's weird with
people
Little
are
Brick.
spaced out.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Go ahead.
No, that's all good.
Spaced out. We're just to give a little business update. Running a restaurant in 2020, we're like, okay, we want to be busy, but we don't want any customers. Correct?
Yeah.
We only have 2 tables inside our house with 4 seats total, right?
Yeah.
And that's awesome in our minds. Whereas if you told us that in January, we'd be like, why do we take all the tables out of the house?
Yeah, and that was the end of Little Brick.
And now we're trying to pivot. Like half of Little Brick's revenue needs to come from not being a cafe. And it needs to be doing that by October 1st, by our estimation.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to use Little Brick as like infrastructure to change how we make money. Be it we're talking with like Edmonton brands that need pickup spots. So they have some sort of company, they make something, food or whatever. They don't want people to come to their house to do pickups. We're trying to create an environment where we're doing that at Little Brick for 4 or 5 businesses, and they pay us rent. Or we're looking at a couple online things we're going to try and do under the guise of Little Brick to try and make it some money. But like, just because we're reopened doesn't mean we're like, perfect. In fact, we're mildly concerned people are going there at all.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Because all the ideas we have involve slamming as many people into the yard as we can, but then you come to the epiphany that you can't do it. So, and just offering more stuff too, and putting a focus on to go and takeaway stuff. So stuff around picnics and all that fun stuff, because the River Valley in the summer is vast and ginormous and beautiful. So we want to be the spot where you can come pick up some stuff, or be the patio that you come enjoy if we've got enough room for you. So,
well,
yeah,
this is where like we're having to like reimagine the business at its fundamental level, right?
Yeah.
We're like, what if our retail store, nobody wants to spend $15 on a candle holder or $100 on a gin set or whatever kind of hipster shit we were selling before. Does this need to be completely reimagined? So we rolled out a little grocery store. Mm-hmm. And we're like trying to like take our price points way down. It's a very strange time economically.
And we're also selling here just to have all the worlds collide. We are a vendor of 4 packs of Nation beer. So if you're in the area and wanting to pick up some Nation beer, swing on down because we are able to sell it like a liquor store.
If you're a child attending virtual school, I'm doing homework out of the fireside room for people for $10 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on down. Oh, Uncle Wanya, I'll do your chemistry for you.
New streams of revenue is what's going to get us through this.
No problem.
I was talking to my little cousin the other day, and this just relates to the homework comment. He's in grade 10, and I don't know how we got onto the topic of like what he's studying in math, and he explained like the unit he was on when everything hit the pause and they weren't allowed to go to school anymore. I would not. There is zero chance I pass a high school math class, like a grade 10 math class. Zero chance. That shit. I made no sense.
What is it, like conics or something, or what?
Radicals,
quadratics?
I couldn't even tell you the word. That's how little it meant to me. He like explained everything, and I was like, I think I remember learning that. But if you would have sat a problem in front of me at that moment or at this moment right now, that could be a segment on the show. Your Truck tries to solve grade 8, 9, and 10 math problems. I was terrible at math, and I retained absolutely nothing I learned in high school.
See, if I was going to talk to a grade 10, when I was little, I thought if I didn't know how to do something in school, I was like fundamentally broken mentally, right? Like I would consider you, your Amtrak, to be very above average for intelligence,
Thank you.
Right? And the fact that you can't do grade 10 math has no bearing on your overall smarts at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like my ability to operate in the real world is in no way, shape, or form hindered by the fact that the only reason I passed Science 30, not even a specific science, I took the general one in grade 12, is because my girlfriend at the time took it a semester before me and all the quizzes were the same. So she fed me the quiz answers and I knew them going into the quiz. So I'd get like 90s on every quiz. I'd always get a couple wrong intentionally. And then on the big tests, I would get like a 50. And one day the teacher came up to me and he was like, Tyler, what's going on here, man? And I was like, I don't know. I get nervous with big tests and you know how it is. And you could tell he was like kind of on to me, but didn't want to like really drill down. He was like, all right, man, sounds good. So that was my high school life right there.
I actually think high school is way more difficult than university or college because you're still being forced to be so broad in what you have to learn about. So like you have to do physics, you have to do chemistry, but you have to do like once you get into university, you can chop out all the shit you hate and never look a science class in the eye again. I can remember getting to university and being like, oh, I'm so happy I'll never have to do sciences again. Kiss my ass, science. It was so hard for me. Doesn't mean I'm an idiot.
I took broadcasting school, so the only tests we had were like, you know, an exam on how well you can ad lib, where they just like would throw a topic at you and you'd have to talk about it for 60 seconds straight. Or like,
when you were in grade,
how good is your breathing?
When you were in grade 11, 12, were you going to be a sports broadcaster?
Oh yeah, I knew what I wanted to be.
So you are 21?
Yeah, I'm 22.
So you went from sitting in grade 11 like Britney Spears in the Hit Me Baby One More Time video to being on TSN before your 21st birthday?
I was on TSN full time by the time I was 19.
God damn, you're Chuck. If we don't give you enough credit on this show, it's because we don't like you. But secondly, we respect you, and I'd rather be respected than liked. That's fast, man. It's impressive.
Yeah, like literally in high school, I would just scrape by in every single class, and then in English, I would get like an 89. I'd be in like the 90s, high 80s, because I could just bullshit my way through an essay, and like that was pretty much it for me in high school.
I imagine you sitting in class reading like a sporting news, and the teacher being like, Tyler, listen, you need to know science. And you're like, oh, no, I don't.
I remember in grade 10 English, I was sitting there, bored of the lesson. It was trade deadline day. I think I've told this story before. And I put my phone in my back pocket, streaming Trade Center. Then I ran the headphone wire like through my hoodie. So when I would lean on my ear, I could hear Trade Center all day. Forgot to connect to Wi-Fi, was on data, racked up like $120 in data overages that day, but worth it.
Now, how the hell did you circumvent sports media so fast and go from being in high school to being LeBron James in the draft?
I don't know. So when I started at Nate, like right when I was 18, and by that point I was hockey blogging for free. I would just like email websites and be like, will you put this on your website, please? And they'd be like, yeah, sure, idiot, giving us free content.
just to interrupt for a second, you told that story, and instinctively I was like, what a loser. But I'm a hockey blogger. Continue.
Yeah, and so I did that. Then I went to Nate, and you just like go through the motions at Nate. They offer you a chance to do like an after school radio show. So every Tuesday for 2 hours, I would go and talk about sports for 2 hours while 19 people listened on the internet for some reason. And then from there, it was just like blogging more. And then I got an internship at TSN because I was already working in the promotions department there, which was huge.
How'd you get into the promotions department?
I applied online. And
how'd you know to apply?
Like, that's just something radio kids kind of know to do. It's like, if you want to get your foot in the door, you go work on the street team and hand out stickers at like Castrol Raceway for some event and for minimum wage, and you just do that for a few months. And I did that. And then I kind of heard that they needed someone to push buttons for Oil Kings games, which is literally like sitting there waiting for the guy to say we're going to commercial, hitting commercial, and like that's all you would do for 3 hours. So I did that. I applied, got that.
Don't get good at that. That can be automated. Continue.
Yeah, it could be automated very quickly. So I did that, and then it came time for like my internship at Nate. So I went and emailed Matt Iwanek, the assistant program director at TSN, and I was just like, I really like pushing the buttons at Oil Kings games, but if I don't get my internship with you guys, I'm going to have to quit. And he was like, shit, we better give you an internship then, because I think they just valued my ability to push buttons on a Saturday night for 3 hours. So I did my internship. Yeah, and then so I did my internship there for 4 months. It went really well. And then when it ended, they were just kind of like, shit, we don't really have a job for you, but like, can you just wait? They like basically told me don't take another job for a bit and just give us some time. And then by that point, they were ready to hire me on full time. And then within that point, I started emailing with a gentleman named Bagged Milk and started, doing the Oil King stuff with you guys. And then I remember one day I wrote an article about Peter Chiarelli on the website that I ran. And Bagged Milk sent me the link, I think. And he was like, can you do this for us? And I was like, I would love to do it for you and not on the website that I just run by myself. And that's how I started writing about the Oilers for you guys.
It's interesting. Very well done. Bravo, by the way.
Thank you.
What do you intend on being when all is said and done in all of this? What do you want to end up as?
I don't know.
Are you there already?
I think I'm where I like to be. Like, I generally enjoy
so
audio
funny.
production. I generally enjoy writing about the Oilers. I enjoy talking about sports on a daily basis, which I get to do multiple times. So yeah, I think this is fine with me for now. Like, I'm not like itching to like have bigger dreams at this moment, because I kind of know like I'm lucky to be doing what I do right now.
You want to make sure you blow your own social up more, right? So you can move around between opportunities and always bring that to the table.
Yeah, I try to be like as active as I can be, but I think that's something that like the older guard in sports media, to open up the conversation a bit, like doesn't really get yet. And it's slowly starting to change, but I just think like having debates with people on Twitter, and sometimes I do go too far, or I give into the trolls, I should say. But like, I love when someone DMs me a random question about the Oilers and is like, would this work? And it's just like, fuck yeah. Like, let's talk in my DMs for 20 to 25 minutes about general Oiler shit. Like, I love that part of it too, which is something I think a lot of old school media guys like see a DM and are like, fuck that. I'm not responding to Joe Hockey with 38 followers.
Block.
Yeah.
Don't fight the trolls because they're too numerous.
To spin this conversation onto you guys, as we do on Mondays, we take listener questions from everyone. And the one question that I've been putting off and I just haven't had a chance to get to for a few weeks, which sort of, I mean, I just spent the last 5 minutes telling everyone my story of how I got to sitting in this chair doing the Real Life Pod.
It's all good. I asked you directly the question, so you weren't bragging. I asked you.
But we did get a DM a few weeks ago from Tim, our German friend, Tim Keller, who's a big listener of The Nation. Hope he's staying safe. But he asked this one a few weeks ago, and I want to throw it to you guys. He says, this for Jay and Wanye, did you ever imagine the Nation Network becoming what it is today when you started it? Which is, I mean, another way to spin that is, what were like your highest expectations of what the Nation Network could be, and has it already like smashed those?
What do you think the Nation Network is, your Chuck? Tell me what you think right now.
A hockey media website, multifaceted, podcasts, all that. That's kind of like the voice of the fans is how I look at it. Like it gives a voice to people who are diehards of their team.
Now, what about the rest of the sites and all that other shit?
Well, I mean, and then, it branches off so quickly, right? It goes from being in a site where you can go read the Monday mailbag and Robin Brownlee and Jason Gregor's like daily rantings to a place where you can buy sweet shirts that the team would never sell shirts like that. Like the one that says fucking phenomenal on it. Like the Oilers, as much as they've started to use that a little bit, they would never sell a shirt like that, which again, it's the merchandise for the fans. And then there's the beer, which is the internet in a can. And that always feels like the beer for the fans. And the trips are centered around the fans and being for the fans. And that's kind of like the overwhelming theme I get if I were to like remove myself from working for the nation and just look at it as an observer. It would be it's for the fans. It's not necessarily going to be, it's professional, but it's tough to almost put into words what I'm trying to say here, where it's professional, but you're going to get it real. It's not watered down, I guess, is a good way to say it. It's not corporate.
Yeah. All right. Well, the fun. So there's a long answer to this question, and thank you, Tim. I love you so much. I love all the
We have a
support.
podcast. Take all the time you need.
I can't wait for you and your crew from Germany to come back, and I will take you for that donair. I let you down, but we were having so much fun, and we kept going to Oodle Noodle, and I couldn't stop that because it was your idea, and I loved it, so we did it. So I think if like when Wanye and I were sitting around the table planning out, what was just then OilersNation.com, and we were trying to, create the business plan in our minds, the original goal of the first business plan, if that's what we want to call it, and correct me if I'm wrong, Wanye, was to do three things. And that was pay for our golf membership, buy a season ticket, and make a car payment for each of us.
And booze.
And party for free, which is something we created when we did pub crawl. So that was something that we were going to weave into this. So that was the first phase. So that's how far we were thinking at the beginning. But similar to kind of Yaremchuk, we were younger and kind of just looking to build something fun and exciting without realizing the opportunity that we were going to unlock. We got to work and things started moving, and we were hitting our goals in terms of being able to go to more Oilers games, be able to finally finance a car and make a monthly car payment, which is a hilarious dream to have, and live the lifestyle, do a great partnership like we did with the Pint, and have them come aboard and believe in a website when it really wasn't a website to believe in yet. I think we kind of got to that goal pretty quickly, all things considering, but then identifying, that there was something more to do than just, a one site company. So that would be kind of like the first iteration of that. Like we had a plan, we had a goal, and that's what we thought if we could achieve that, like that would be the craziest thing ever. And then we got there, and then it's like, fuck yeah, now let's see if we can go bigger.
Well said. Bravo.
Thank you.
I remember writing a business plan in a little book I had for the nation and before the Cup run of 2006. And I was like, oh man, I remember reading this business magazine. It's like, you can own websites. And I was like, oh, for real? Like, I had no idea, right? And then I was like, oh, what would be an interesting website? And I obviously only love the Oilers. And I was like, it'd be really interesting to learn how to run a website, quote unquote, about the Oilers because it wouldn't feel like work. And I thought about it for a while and kind of looked at you'd need to sell advertising. And I was like, how the hell do you sell advertising? So I was looking into it online, and sure enough, there were people who made a living selling advertising of those little squares on websites everyone ignores. And I was like, for real? People actually make a living doing that? And I didn't know anybody who did that. But conceptually, I was like, well, for sure, people love the Oilers. And for sure, we love the Oilers, me and Jay. So if we made a website that we loved as Oilers fans, chances are other people would love it too. And then we were like, well, as Oilers fans, I would like to hear Robin Brownlee continue to write articles because he's an amazing writer about the Oilers, and I've been reading them for 20 years. Or I would really like to hear Jason Gregor before he had the Drive Time show. I remember Jay and I being like, that Jason Gregor's some kind of reporter, isn't he? Remember, Jay? We went out to Century Grill with him?
Yeah.
the fanciest place we could think of?
I had to ditch out on work. I had to create some lie so I could leave and take a long lunch.
I remember being like, wow, meeting. Century Grill. Wow, Jason Gagner. We're really in the big time.
Yeah.
And we were right. And then, we're just like, well, it might be really hard to make a living doing this. But conceptually, you could make in the short term, enough money where if we could drink for free and go to Oilers games, that would be life-changing. And I remember we got Hudson as our original sponsor.
They signed on as our
off
sponsor.
A Word doc.
Off a Word doc, yeah. They were the title sponsor of Oilers Nation before it was even a website.
And we went in there because Yazinski, our boy, back in the day, I was involved in the brew house. And I had Yazinski down to the brew house before it was the brew house. And he was like, what are you going to do at this place? And I thought he was Bill Gates. I thought he was the richest man in the world. And I was like, I don't know, perhaps some sort of Canadian bar. And he was like, what do you mean a Canadian bar? And I'm like, well, how come there's Irish bars everywhere, but there's no Canadian bars? And I remember looking in his eyes as it registered, and I was like, oh, shit, he's going to steal it for sure and do way better than us. And then he started Hudson, and then they did the brew house, and then the pint came in. And then, so this was the payback. Remember, Jay?
Yeah.
It's his fault that he stole the idea from us. Now we're going to settle the score. And we're like, please sponsor our hockey blog, please.
Yeah.
And then he did. And we got $500 a month in free booze?
Yeah, it was, I thought that was $1 million.
Gift cards.
We'd always come and just spending gift cards. And everyone, all the staff hated us. Oh, fuck.
Those guys.
Gift cards. It's all I got.
Yeah, all we have. And then we would sit there and be like, you know what we should do now that we're drinking for free and watching the Oilers? And then we planned it all out. And I think because the Oilers blessed us with garbage hockey for so long, it gave us the opportunity to focus on the business side of things. Because all we really wanted to do was ride the wave of fans and the cup run and the roar of the fans, winning every day. Shit, there's a party. That's what we wanted to do, is just be fans. But there wasn't a lot to celebrate. So instead we bought 15 other websites. So did we think it would be big when we started it out? Well, I think everything's going to be huge eventually if you just keep working on it. But I would say within 36 months of launch, we were like, oh shit, we're the greatest thing that's ever happened to anything.
Yeah, it moved fast, and that's why. Then we said, okay, well, let's go for it because we think we've unlocked an opportunity here.
And we bought Hockey Fights,
Daily Faceoff, NHL Numbers.
Yeah, and that was buying stuff that was already working and trying to figure out how to do it better, which was great.
Daily Faceoff is during the hockey season. I don't think I visit, and I'm sure a lot of hockey fans are like this too. I don't think I visit a website more than I visit Daily Faceoff. Brock does such amazing shit.
He's amazing.
He's a robot.
He is. He's just an absolute machine.
Yeah, it's insane. We're super fortunate to have him on the team, and we're super fortunate that he loves what he does too, because he's got that motivation to be first to market and make DFO the powerful tool and heavily used tool that it is. And that's one of the big, when you talk about, the Nation Network as a whole, and we talk about, big successes or home runs that we hit, DFO is played a huge part in our story of growth for sure. And it's something that we refer to a lot in discussions as we kind of plan this thing out, and, because we're not done doing what we're doing. So, we're trying to bring more DFO type transactions under the banner because that one had a huge impact on the business and allowed us. The big thing is it allowed us to grow and open more sites and hire more writers, which is what it's all about, right? Because we want to generate as much content for the communities we can, and doing things like DFO unlock resources that allow us to do that.
I think one thing that Jay and I have always done right, because we sort of don't really know a lot of business people, is we're always convinced we're usually pretty right. And we're like, we could do that. And even if we can't, we're like, oh, it's so easy. We always think it's so easy. It's never easy. And then we got the next thing. We're like, this is going to be so easy. Having learned nothing from the last 80 things that weren't easy, we're like, this one for sure is going to be easy. But the key is at least being wired to give it another shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were talking recently about what have we actually built. We're kind of trying to figure it out. And I think the idea that you described it as, your Chuck, is perfectly what if you heard how you described the nation at our inaugural meeting, that's how we described it. We're like, let's imagine it as a poker table. And around the poker table is all your buddies, and you're talking about the Oilers. And one of your buddies is a math nerd, and one of your buddies is Kevin Lowe's hairdresser's kid and has inside information, and one of your buddies is just a drunk mess, and you go down the list. But the conversation around the table of everyone talking to each other, that's how we imagined Oilers Nation. So we're like, we have to get real reporters because we want to hear what they have to say, but we want to hear them have to say it to us at our website. And that was largely the recipe for success, I think.
We kind of you got the history lesson on myself. We got the history lesson on Oilers Nation, and Bagged Milk has just been sitting idly by. So I've heard the story. I love this story. I feel like a young kid telling grandpa to tell one of his favorite stories again. But Bagged Milk,
yeah,
do you remember?
Right. If grandpa employs you and can fire you at any moment, you could just disappear from the whole thing. Not a problem. Yes, grandson.
Bagged Milk, do you remember your first contact with Oilers Nation, and how did you grow into Bagged Milk, who is Bagged Milk today? King Milk.
Yeah, 100%. I remember it was probably 2008. I was listening to the Gregor show, and I heard him mention OilersNation.com, and I went and Googled it. I fucked up the website somehow. I don't know how I fucked up the website. But I Googled it, I found it, and then the first thing I remember seeing was Wanye used to do paint pictures, very Perez Hilton style images on the website, and I always thought that was hilarious. I thought it was something kind of like, it was different. It was a different way about communicating the Oilers than what was being presented in newspapers. It was a for the fans, by the fans kind of vibe, and that resonated with me. So I remember that very specifically, and once I found it, I remember going back again and again because there was always new stuff up. No matter what time of year it was, there was always something going up. So that was really intriguing to me. As for being Bagged Milk, I remember, I wish I could remember what my first name was on the site. I can't remember, but it wasn't Bagged Milk. It was something like Oilers Guy or like,
how'd you come up with
in
that
oil
name?
or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it probably would have been better in hindsight to stick with Oilers Guy, but and then I started doing my own thing based on what the guys were doing at Oilers Nation, and I appreciated it, and I wanted to write about the Oilers myself, and I wanted to write about pop culture, and I wanted to write about music and shitty TV and all the other things that I love. And then eventually I got asked to do kind of like a weekly column once upon a time. It was called The Righteous Sack Beatings. It would go up on Fridays.
Righteous sack beating.
And it was basically just like a 500-word rant on things that were annoying. And then that turned into other opportunities for me. My first real kind of gig with the Nation was running the Twitter account. And I remember Wanye and I went out for a drink. We were talking about it, and this is what the plan was going to be. Let's add some personality into the social media. And then the lockout happened. So I had to come up with dumb shit to talk about for 6 months while there was no hockey. And as it turns out, that was very practical. And then it just kind of grew from there. Every opportunity they presented me, I kept saying yes. I just wanted to be involved. I was tired of working in a cubicle job, and I would have done anything to get out of it. And 6 years ago and change now, I got the chance to do it full time. So it was a ride. I just remember my first initial thought to answer the question was that it was a different way of covering hockey. It was a different way of putting forth information that you couldn't get anywhere else. It was kind of like a podcast, but in text form because podcasts didn't exist yet, really. It was a different way of talking about the Oilers than the very starchy kind of newspaper model that had always been there. But then at the same point, like Wanye and Jabo said, they had Brownlee there. They had Gregor there. So they had those guys there, but they also had lanes for fans who just wanted to make dumb jokes about the Oilers games. And that's kind of, in my opinion, what makes Oilers Nation work so well is that there are lanes for everybody. If you want a ridiculous fan voice and somebody who gets mad and screams about the Oilers, well, I'm there for you. But if you want to go into the history of the game and kind of take a walk down what it means to be an Oiler, the history of the team, and have it presented very well, Brownlee's there for you. If you want Gregor giving you inside knowledge and behind the scenes looks at how things happen, he's there for you. So the thing that's great about the website is you've got something for everybody. And I think that's really important. And it's fun seeing the commenters crossing over to authors maybe they don't like or they do like, and mixing it up in the comment section. The whole thing was just a very intriguing sandbox of wonderfulness. And I was hooked from the first time I saw it.
That's very nice of you. I remember talking to Gregor, and when we pitched Gregor, and he was like, I don't need anything from you guys. I'm the number one overnight show guy in town. And he literally said that. At the time, I was like, my stars, think of all the people he's beating. There is nobody else doing overnight sports in town, but that's neither here nor there. And I remember saying to him, like, well, what's your plan? What do you want to do? And he's like, well, I'm going to be the number one radio guy in town. And I was like, well, why can't you be the number one red sports writer? And he's like, I can't work for the Journal. And I was like, what if the Journal won't be the number one sports thing to read? And I remember his eyes bugged out of his head. And then he worked with us. It was the best. His eyes bugged out of his head. He was like, what? And I'm like, imagine a new thing came into the marketplace. Shown up.
You're talking about Gregor's meeting with you guys. I remember my first meeting. I went to the Little Brick Cafe, and that's Bag Milk just texted me or emailed me. He was like, oh, come meet here. We'll talk more. And I stood outside, and I didn't know which door to go in. So I probably stood outside for like 4 minutes, just being like, what fucking door is this? This is just a cafe. Where do I go? Then I finally got the nerve to ask the lady working behind the counter. I was like, I'm supposed to meet with Oilers Nation? Like, what? And she was like, oh, yeah, just right up those stairs in this old house. And it made very little sense to 19-year-old Uremchuk. I was awfully confused by the whole thing.
Marvelous.
Before we keep moving on here, need to let everyone know once again that today's podcast and every podcast is brought to you by the fine folks at Japa. You can visit them, japamachinery.com, or you can give them a call, 780-962-5272. Our other sponsor is Oodle Noodle. Is there a new charity this week?
It sure is. We're about to be dropping the video. It was just sent to me during the podcast, so I'll post it after. But we're partnered up with a very awesome charity that we've done some work with at Oilers Nation before, Sports Central. So this week, 10% of our in-store sales will be going to support Sports Central. Their focus right now is getting bikes out. I don't know if a lot of people know what Sports Central does, but they provide sports equipment for, I guess, for families in kind of less fortunate financial positions. So, they go through the agencies, they get referred over to Sports Central. Sports Central will size them up for whatever it is, whether it be hockey equipment, lacrosse, golf, skiing, doesn't matter, bikes especially, and they'll get you sized up and on your way. And they're helping. They support a lot of kids get into sports that without them couldn't afford it. And some of the crazy success stories they used to provide, and there's a video we're going to launch and share that they got done. They used to provide soccer balls and shoes to Alfonzo Davies. Ooh. So Sports Central does a tremendous amount of stuff in the community for sports and to get kids that can't afford it into sports. And
who's Alfonzo Davies?
Oh my God!
Are you serious?
Are you serious? Uremchuk, are you serious? We ever thought about being serious? Yes, I'm serious. Who's Alfonzo Davies?
Do you want to explain it to Uremchuk?
Alfonzo Davies is quite possibly the most electrifying football player in the world. Soccer player, I should say. Playing with Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. Over the last 18 months, he's always been a big deal here because he came out of Edmonton, but over the last...
He's from Edmonton?
Yeah.
Yes.
And now he's playing...
this is the dude who was at the Oilers game the one time.
Yeah. Germany's
That's how I
biggest...
remember him, is the guy at the Oilers game.
Germany's biggest sporting export is currently playing in Edmonton, and Edmonton's biggest sport export is currently playing in Germany. It's a great trade-off between Draisaitl and Alfonso Davies. But yeah,
that is cool.
He's
so
unreal.
He used to go to Sports Central.
So he would get equipped and set up with Sports Central. I even think they gave bikes. So there's a Sports Central. He did a video for Sports Central. Very gracious of him to do that. So we're going to post that and share that. But just shows kind of the impact Sports Central has. Alfonso Davies was from a family that couldn't afford certain things at that particular moment, and because of things like Sports Central, they're the ones that set him up and to get him on his way to get started. And look how far he's gone. And there's there's a few other crazy stories like that as well. But no, very good charity, and super pumped to be. As a kid that values, me as who values sports a lot, and I think it's important for kids to get into. It's a great charity to be involved with.
That's crazy that if Sports Central didn't exist, that he's the number one player in the world.
Well, not number one player in the world. He's he's the best up and coming player. Like his,
I see.
He is
so
one
in
of the most
hockey
exciting. In hockey, he is.
Is he Leon?
He might be the fastest player in professional soccer right now. Like that's the thing. He's got like crazy speed. So what happened is he was playing on at the national level for us. He played for the Vancouver Whitecaps, and Bayern Munich like bought, soccer works, right? They bought him for like 10 or 12 or 14 million.
He was playing for the Whitecaps?
Yeah, he was in the MLS from the time he was like 15.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's where soccer is weird. Like you can be the fan of a regional team and see a really good player come through.
And then eventually your team or your club will just cash in on like $200 million and this player will go play somewhere else.
So is that a record for the MLS for a purchase or a transfer fee?
Ooh,
no, I don't think so. I think there's been a few bigger ones. But the interesting thing with Davies is that he went to Bayern, and I'm going to explain this in hockey terms because that's how my brain works. But he was like with their minor leagues. And when he went there, everyone was like, oh man, he's going to not everyone, but there were people I talked to who were like, oh, he's going to too big of a club. Like it's going to take him so long just to like sort of crack the big club. Never mind get minutes, never mind become a starter. And now again, you flash forward so quick and it's like, he is the talk of that league right now, what he's doing. It's good stuff for a Canadian, for an Edmontonian as well. But yeah, shout out to our sponsor, Oodle Noodle. My dad texted me the other day and said, are you voicing Oodle Noodle commercials now? And I said, yes, Dad, I am. Thanks for recognizing my voice. And then he quickly went, do you have gift cards for me? And I said, no, I'm sorry, Dad. I don't have gift cards for you.
We could, Mr. Yaremchuk Sr., if you'd like us to.
He doesn't listen to this podcast, but yeah, sure. Please send my dad gift cards because he was asking about it. Bag Milk, you're laughing. That's more of an Oilers Nation radio bit, though. The fact that me and my dad don't speak very much.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, they don't talk very much at all. It just makes me laugh, too, because I had a similar thing with my dad this week with Nation Beer. He came over. We were doing a little bit of landscaping in my yard, put some sod down, did all that. Nice. And then he came in the house. He's like, so what's the deal with those Nation Beers? How many are you going to give me? So I just ended up giving him about, half a flat or whatever. And I was
fucking shakedown.
Yeah, basically what it is our dads are shaking us down here, I'm checking.
I obviously wear a lot of Nation gear. That's like number one in my closet. And whenever my dad sees me wearing a nice one, he'll always be like, get that one for me. Order that one for me. He asked me to order him an MVP Draisaitl shirt the other day too. And when I moved out, like 5-6 days later, my mom came with a basket of laundry and was like, you left all these clothes here. And like 4 of them were my dad's Nation gear shirts. I was like, Mom, those aren't mine. Those are your husband's. So that was kind of funny.
Infiltrated the Yaremchuk household.
Yeah, you absolutely did. He's loving the golf deals too. I need to find time to take him out to Cougar Creek now because he's been really digging those. The one this week is, or the one last week was Coal Creek as well, which is a beautiful course. So are those sold out?
We can talk about that. Let's talk about that.
We still have a few left. So yeah. So what we're doing is we're talk about kind of the program a bit, Wanye?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're, it's a pandemic, so it's a different world, and kind of business transacts a little bit different.
It's a pandemic.
Well, it is, but like, right? So like we're, we always try to go to market and bring on good partners, and good partners for us there always has to be some kind of reward for the community, whether it be discounts or give us stuff to give away, or give us something where we can go and get it as a deal for our community. And that's always kind of a pillar of when we bring on a partner onto the network. So this summer it's a little bit different just because of people's budgets are lower. But what's happening is we're working with these golf courses and they're coming and we're putting these packages together that are well below market.
Yeah.
To help make golf more affordable for the community and get them into some great partner courses like Coal Creek and Cougar Creek. Yeah, it's been a win-win. We launched the Cougar Creek and they sold so fast, which is good. And it also helps us because there is a little bit, like full disclosure, a little bit of a kickback for us for making that sale happen. And we appreciate the support of all that, but it's all under that kind of like wheel of winning, right? Getting partnering up with a golf course, getting awareness, them providing a crazy deal for our community, and then if something sells, then a portion comes to us and supports our business. So it's kind of a win-win. And we're working on other things to lump in, like we did. What do we do we did golf shirts with the Cougar Creek one. We're doing mystery tees this week. We're partnering up with one golf course that's going to be coming up where they're going to be with every package. There's going to be Nation golf balls. We're just having a lot of fun with it, and the feedback from everyone, golf courses and the community, has been very positive. So that's something that we're super happy to see. So thank you, Remcheck, for supporting it.
Yeah, no, I thank you guys for offering that. I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat with money being tight with the pandemic and, work not being as consistent as it might have been. It's, having a good, cheap alternative to golf while knowing you're supporting really good local courses as well. I think you're right. It's a win-win-win-win for everyone kind of involved. An idea I had before I took that ad read break was we were talking about, my first interaction with the Nation, Bag Milks, how you guys started it. I want to throw that now to the listeners, and you can hit us up. Instagram DMs are wide open. Twitter DMs are open, or you can email me, Tyler@OilersNation.com. I want to know the listeners' first interactions with Oilers Nation. I want to know their first impressions of the site, how they've watched it grow, maybe a best memory from Oilers Nation. It doesn't need to be a review or anything like that. I just want to know how people first kind of got in contact with the Nation, how you met the Nation sort of. So feel free, hit us up. My email's Tyler@OilersNation.com. Hit up our Instagram DMs, Twitter DMs, and maybe on Thursday, that's what we can dig into. Although at some point here in the next week or so, and this is something we teased last week, teased a bit on socials, but had to postpone it today, we're going to be having Brett Kissel on the podcast. Did you guys know that Brett Kissel, and I fully plan on this, I'm going to intro him to the podcast when he comes on, the Connor McDavid of country music. This guy has had songs on the radio since he was 12 years old.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. I was digging into him, doing some pre-interview research, as I do. And yeah, this guy has had a guitar in his hand since he was 6, and he was a huge deal in Alberta. I was talking at a bit of a backyard visit with
what?
Yeah, that's a bad tongue slip because I was about to say a backyard visit with my family. And my mom was like, I remember I had a CD of his from when he was 15. And I was like, holy shit. So he kind of is the Connor McDavid of country music. But we're going to have him on soon to talk about his concert series as well.
I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was like, oh, you're going to have breakfast on your show. I'm like, yeah. She goes, be careful. He's very charismatic. You might go all weird and Wanye over him. I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, he's very charismatic. There's a reason Jordan Eberle thinks he's his real friend. They're real boys, those guys. Be careful. Very charismatic. Friends of Jordan Eberle. What would we have to talk about?
Yeah, there's a video that came out right after Eberle got married. Brett Kissel was there, did Wagon Wheel up on stage with the boys. They're having a big old sing-along.
So here's a real embarrassing fact. The week before Brett Kissel, hopefully, I couldn't name you a single song he's ever sang in his life. It's not how I get down, bro. I'm gangster rap for life.
I bet you though you would have heard some of his music in passing because it does get a lot of airtime.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But what I love,
I know he's a huge star. I know, I recognize it on high.
Oh, it's a big deal for me. This is a crazy get. He's a hilarious, he's a big music star, but he is a fucking diehard Oilers fan.
Well, I know. Yeah, remember when the mic died? I want to ask you if that's real. Remember that?
That's what I want to ask you. That's on my agenda.
I've heard him talk about it before, and he made it seem like it was legit. So
let's pretend. I can pretend I'm going to be doing a hard copy, hard hitting interview all I like. If he's 1/10 as charismatic as I'm led to believe, I'll be goo-gooing by 5 seconds in.
Well, he was on Spit and Chicklets, and he was,
those
and
fuckers got him first.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I texted Bagmouth. I'm like, you gotta plug his interview because he was defending and putting Edmonton on a pedestal.
He was?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh no! See, it's starting already. I can already feel it.
And when we had our, and we can't release the video unfortunately because it was sensitive, but you had to be there to see it. When we had our 10th anniversary video, he did one of the shoutouts for us.
That's right. He was also the star of our annual April Fool's joke this past year.
What?
Yeah. We said that he was going to be the new broadcaster for Oilers game.
That was actually good because, yes, I've already fallen under a spell. I remember everything now.
He retweeted it and he was playing along. Like, we had no contact with him whatsoever on this. We just thought maybe he retweeted it. Yeah. And he said, yep, I can't believe this one didn't make it out. Like, he played along despite the fact that he had no idea that we were doing it. So
I remember he came on the Oilers game and he was talking all nice, but during the play, but then the Oilers were just destroying whoever the hell they were playing.
It was
Predators, Nashville.
Well, they kept like asking him questions during the play. Like, I'm like, what else is he supposed to do? But that was.
But the Oil were doing unreal while he was on, because I remember I fell for that, and I was the April Fool, as I always do. And I was like, oh shit, that'd be awesome. The Oil played so well that one game he was doing color. Yeah.
Because we need to ask him about his unbeaten streak or so. He's got like some kind of streak too where he's appeared on the broadcast and the Oilers have scored more than 7 goals each time or something. Like, I got to find out about this. I'm going to put this in my research.
Imagine he was the colored commentator and that was the record. If he could keep that up.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
We'll be all right.
Undefeated.
Yeah. Mr. Cates will pay him everything.
Everything. Hey, I'll tell you, speaking of Mr. Cates, I watched the GQ interview again with Connor and Wayne late at night. You know how you do. But anyways, they all called Mr. Cates, including Wayne Gretzky.
Weird.
Every time I've brought up Mr. Cates, I've called him Mr. Cates, and people go, why you call him Mr. Cates? Because Connor McDavid and Wayne Gretzky do. Yeah, that's why. And you could tell, because they did the interview in St. Louis, that the GQ people weren't impressed. Like, they were impressed, but they were as impressed as if they were interviewing any other large celebrity, right? And Wayne and Connor were talking about how crazy Edmonton is for hockey and how crazy it would be if people saw the two of them sitting together. And I was like, oh man, if Connor McDavid and Wayne Gretzky just sat in the window of Rogers Place, within an hour there'd be 10,000 people out front.
It'd be like Bieber when Bieber was eating breakfast at Blue Plate Diner.
Imagine how long it would take if they did an experiment and just didn't announce anything and just Wayne and Connor sat in that room with all the cups.
Just enjoying a nice latte from Little Brick Cafe.
We would all break our quarantine and run there top speed just to watch them sit there and wave to us.
I would touch everyone to see him.
It was interesting in that interview, though, because he said, Connor said, what is it like to win in Edmonton? And Gretzky looked at him and goes, it's better than winning anywhere else ever would be. And you see Connor go and that's why. There's a reason Edmonton fans, who are the most long-suffering fans, and take the most shit, and people dump on Edmonton and blah, blah, blah. There's a reason the hockey gods saw it fit to give us Gretzky and Connor. And when you watch those guys be like, no better place to win. And he's like, Reggie Jackson won 3 championships with the A's and won 2 with the Yankees. And he values the ones with the A's the most. And Connor was like, And I'm like, you know what? When Wayne fucking Gretzky tells that to Connor, Connor's not leaving anytime soon, like all these little boo birds would have you believe. He's like, the greatest player of all time told me win as an Oiler, and I'm already the captain of the Oilers. My plan is to win.
I wonder if that answers Tim's question, Joe, in general.
Do we have another question to answer?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think we the 40 minutes we spent on Tim's question.
Great question, Timmy. Thanks, buddy.
I'm happy we saved it for this week. I got
Did
another one in
podcast.
here.
You know what? Can we call this podcast Tim's full name?
Yeah.
Kevin Lowe?
Tim Keller.
Keller, that's his last name. Yeah, just call it
Tim Keller.
Tim Keller. Yeah.
Tim Keller asked a question.
Yeah. I like that name actually.
Tim Keller asked a question. It shall be done.
Okay, this one here, because we were talking about, we've been doing a lot of talk actually about the Don't Air bracket and everything that's going on with that. Chris with a K on Instagram. Don't answer Don't Airs to this one, because I know you guys would love to answer Don't Airs, but I want a different flavor, if you want to call it that. What is your go-to hangover food? Now that, things are starting to open up again, maybe you've been going out or digging into the wobblies a little bit more than you have been over the last few months. What's your go-to hangover food?
This is easy for me.
Easy for you, Bag Milk?
Yep, pho, 100%.
Pho.
Get a nice bowl of soup, get hydrated a little bit, get some salt back in your body, get a little bit of nourishment. Perfect for what ails you. Pho.
Yeah, it's tough. A nice salty broth. Oh, yeah, no, it's tough to beat that for sure. That or just like, I don't care. Like McDonald's is fine. Sometimes just grease is good. Or
Yeah,
a little butter chicken.
Oh, butter chicken. Bah, for hangover brekkie though? Like,
Yeah, not for Brad. No, for
Yeah.
brekkie, it's or just like a really greasy brunch.
True.
Yeah,
if you're
for
properly
me,
hungover, there's a 2-part day to this. You have
Yeah.
something in the morning, then you
Oh,
go
yeah.
home and lie down and wait for the angel of death to carry you away. And then if it doesn't, you go out around 4:45 and eat an early dinner that will put you out until Monday morning when you will rise again to face the week.
for me, like I usually wake up and just drink water for like an hour and a half to 2 hours. Like I can't even stomach food if I'm super hungover. And then at about 11:30 noon, depending on when I wake up, I just go get the biggest burrito possible. I think we talked about this on Oilers Nation Radio, but I'm a big burrito guy. And to me, that is the like perfect hangover food. You get a bit of everything in there. I'm a big
Now, your
burrito guy.
M-Chuck, listen here. There's a breakfast burrito now on the menu at Little Brick.
Oh?
Oh,
It's brand new. We're going all contactless now, right? So everything's like in a bag of some variety, hopefully. You get that breakfast burrito as a burrito man, and you tell me what you think. It's pretty damn good.
Can someone
Ooh,
drive
yeah.
one to St. Albert for me next time I'm hungover?
Oh,
Probably not.
No,
well,
what, you only eat a burrito when you're hungover?
No, actually, I will come try that. I'm a big breakfast burrito guy as well. I bought some that you can just, they come like single packaged, and you're supposed to put them in the microwave, but I put them in my air fryer. Oh, that shit's good.
What's an air fryer?
You've never heard of an air fryer?
oh, they're good, Wanya.
Or
Oh.
Alfonzo Davies?
Homemade fries. Homemade fries are where it's at in the air fryer.
Yeah,
Homemade fries? What?
I've been living on my own now for about 3 weeks, and I've used my air fryer more than I've used my oven. Like,
What does
it's
it do? I don't
unreal.
understand.
It cooks it like an oven, but much quicker, and you don't have to wait for it to like heat up and all that shit. It just cooks it with nothing but hot air.
What?
It's the
How is
sign.
there a new... How on earth? Sometimes I don't feel like I'm of this world. How is there a new type of appliance that I haven't heard about it? I don't know a single person on earth who possesses one of these.
I got the Ninja one from Costco. Should have gotten them to
Is
sponsor
it
me
new?
before I said
Is
that.
it innovation in desktop technology?
It's not even that like innovative, but mine has like I can make beef jerky in mine. It has like a dehydrating setting.
That's not good news for the jerky industry, but all right.
No, shout out to Will Hawk, Trent and the boys.
Well, that's under no
I love
disruption.
Will Hawk.
That's so
Yeah,
cool.
their jerky is untouchable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can never make that.
But no, man, the air
have
fryer
you
is
tried
great.
have you tried their pepperoni?
Oh,
I've not.
forget about it. They're ridiculous.
Oh.
And the garlic sausage.
And then I also fried the pepperoni in with some pierogies. Oh my god!
That
Forget
does
about
sound
it.
good.
I had
Forget
one of their
about
it.
I had one of their garlic sausages a while ago, and I wrapped it in tinfoil, a little bit of butter, and some onions. Threw that in the campfire, pulled that out. Oh, that's good living, gentlemen.
We got to plug Will Hawk into Little Brick.
Yeah, we should sell it out of here.
People would love it there, and you can put it in the breakfast.
Yeah, because they're so far, like they're out on the extremities, so it'd be good to have a central pickup point for them.
Oh.
We-
And you guys are doing the Caesars there. Plop a little chunk of jerky in that there Caesar.
Oh,
Rather than buying a T-shirt in the store, wear a beef jerky shirt.
oh, you know what a good hangover cure is? A
Beef jerky?
Caesar
Oh,
with a piece of Will Hawk beef jerky in it.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
1000%.
that's
And a
good
blue
stuff.
Gatorade chaser.
Yeah.
I love
yeah.
it. My cure for the hangover, your M-Chuck, is a monkey blood transfusion.
Oh, what?
A monkey blood transfusion, where I go down to the zoo and switch my blood out with that of an ape.
All right.
And then suddenly I'm blessed with super strength. And I don't have a hangover anymore. And that ape feels like shit because it is the blood of a man who was drinking all night.
Mm-hmm. We share 86% of the same DNA.
That's right.
It's a shame Chalmers isn't here today because last episode was so heated and it's had so much chatter on social after it. I loved it.
I bet Chalmers also has wonderful hangover cures as well.
Yeah, like start drinking again, and that's been his solution for 40 consecutive years.
It just reminds me of I love rock star biographies, so I read Slash's, and his cure to a hangover was to leave himself a pre-mixed Jack and Coke on his night table, and when he would wake up in the morning, he would just down that baby back on the horse.
A warm Jack and Coke.
A warm Jack and Coke.
Impressive.
Say what you want about Chalmers. When he comes on the show, he has a star power.
Oh, I love Chalmers is a great addition to the team.
He drives the
I
play.
respect the fact he's interviewing Sam Gagner while driving around, and talking live to Sam Gagner was not his priority.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then
respect
he
it.
also could like crank it up and just have like a normal conversation with Sam Gagner. Be like, "Oh, your dad builds rinks, hey? Let me tell you about my rinks, Sam Gagner."
Yeah, no shit, eh? Oh, let me just name drop Mike Smith's kid's name
Yeah.
to you that you know that I know that you know that I know. But this is why he's good on the show. I stand by my human resources.
I got Chalmers briefly on the happy hour on Friday. We got to get him more involved on that.
Yeah, and then what he said immediately was, "I don't want to do this. Take your headphones back."
Yeah.
Nice.
But that's what we wanted to say. I wanted to bring up before we wrap up. Well, I guess we should.
You should let Chalmers. If you want to get some feedback, you should let Chalmers do his own happy hours when he's happy, and be like, Chalmers, next time you're half in the bag, here's the login for Nation Insta. Do an Insta live when you're. It'd be amazing. He could be trusted.
I want to share a message that I got today from a local donaire shop. I just want to talk about kind of the effects and kind of the momentum the donaire bracket is creating for the community, which is the main point of all this is to support our local donaire shops in terms of the exercise of the donaire bracket. So this is from, I got this DM today. It says, "Hey man, just wanted to say we have a lot of people who mention you guys when they come into Fire Zone. I just wanted to say thank you." Pretty cool, eh?
Fire Zone will be up later this week in the Goliath bracket.
So I was super happy to hear that, because that's when we talk in happy hours about kind of like why we're doing this. It's a support a local business strategy to create awareness for those people and have people go have more donaires than they probably should during this time. So it's nice to see that it works. I'm also very proud of myself for my campaigning efforts last week, getting Mama involved and pushing her over the edge, because we got her to the finals, and the finals weren't looking too good when everything started. But we shared Mama's story with the public, and she shot some videos with me. And
Man, I love seeing Mama on the Insta. That was
pushed over the edge. Well, and she even
living.
said, she's like, "So many people are asking me about this boat you're doing. What is this?" I'm like, yes, it's working, Mama.
That's right, Mom.
Yeah, it's good to see. So she's going to be in tough for the finals, but we'll have to. I'll have to pull up because I got the Burger Baron who's got some serious clout. So we have to try to find a way to take him down.
I went out to. Speaking of good local foodies, I went to Jägerburger.
Yeah. Shout out Imad.
Imad? Yeah, Imad. Yeah, I was talking to him, and it's funny because he's like, "Oh, you're that guy, the guy whose phone died on the podcast." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, he goes, "I heard you're an idea guy," and I was like, He goes, "Give me an idea. Tell me what I should do in here to be busier." And I'm like, I looked around. I'm like, I don't know. Like, put up something that is like old Oilers that people can take a picture with, and put the Jägerburger logo underneath it, and everyone will take a photo with it. And he looked at me and he's like, "You get your cheeseburger poutine for free." And I was like, "Thank you."
Oh, that's all good.
Imad's good stuff, man. Good. I love that guy. He was great last week on the pod as well.
If he does get an Instagram wall, shout out to myself for telling him.
Yes. Gate, before we go, just a reminder, we are sponsored by the fine folks at Japa. If you need some extra support getting your heavy equipment up and running this summer, give the fine folks at Japa a call. That number on their website, japamachinery.com. And you know what? I plugged it earlier. I'll plug it again. Send us a message. Send me an email, tyler@oilersnation.com. How did you first meet the Nation? What was your first encounter with Oilers Nation? What do you remember? Send us some good Oilers Nation stories. Maybe we'll share them on the pod come Thursday. We're also going to have an interview with Brett Kissel coming up at some point in the next, hopefully, 10, 14 days in that kind of range here. Guys, thanks for your time as always. It's a shame Chalmers couldn't join in at all during this last hour, but I appreciate talking to you guys.
Peace.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
See ya. Episode 183 of the Real Life Podcast is over.
Great job on making it through the entire hour of the Real Life Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from.